Okay, we're gonna talk about Adam Toledo, the so-called child that was murdered by the police officer in Chicago. Because when police officers are not murdering black people, they murder children because they have to balance it out a little bit. Now, I don't know the exact height of the boy, but he was fairly tall from what they say. And in my experience, I've seen tall children. I had a night class in late 2010. The mother, one of the women in the class, student was a mother. To a kid, and she couldn't get a babysitter, so she brought her son to class. Remember, he was a 12-year-old boy. His name was Xavier. I'm 5'9". He was an inch shorter than me, and he was 250. In my experience, I've had children, some girls, that are tall. I have a 13-year-old now who's almost at my height. I even told her, "You're gonna be taller than me one day." I've had boys and girls I've had them when they were young kids, and they are now taller than me. Some of them are 15, 16, some of them are 18, some of them are 20. They're taller than me. A couple of the boys are girthier than I am. I'm close to 200 pounds here. Children just get big. I had one little girl, very little girl. She moved away and came back to the neighborhood one day, and she was 14, and she was 2 inches over my head. I'm 5'9", she's 5'11", at 14 years old. Okay? So you do get these kids that they get a fucking growth spurt in there. And you got a 13-year-old, a 12-year-old, an 11-year-old that's big. Okay, some can be over 6 feet tall. And that's just the way it is. They get tall. Now, we have mentorships in this world. Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts, big brothers, big sisters. Boys and Girls Club, neighborhood clubs. I had a math tutor. My mother's friend got it from somewhere. Her name was Annie. It was in elementary school. She was a college student, and she would come over, help with my homework. I sucked at math. I sucked at math, even today. The Big Brother, Big Sister was spoofed in The Simpsons, one of the classic episodes many years ago. Big Brother, Big Sister program was very big in the 90s. You had a boy or girl without a mother or father, and they had an older person that would mentor them. Take the baseball games, take them to the museums, help them with their homework, whatever. And the underworld has mentor programs too. Take this case, for instance, it's Adam Toledo. He's 13 years old, and he is out with his mentor at 2 o'clock in the morning. They had an older Ruger, semi-auto. I forget what fucking model it is. It was an older model that's maybe 10 years ago at least. They were out shooting at cars. The police were called, and the 21-year-old handed the 13-year-old the gun. And trust me when I tell you, every time you get a juvenile suspect and an adult suspect, the adult suspect gives the juvenile suspect the item in question, whether that item is a gun or drugs, jewelry, whatever the item is. Maybe a 20, 30-year-old, no. But 15, 19, 12, 17, the older suspect is going to give the younger suspect the item in question, which happened here. Older suspect handed the younger suspect the gun, ran away. Police came, officer sees a guy, starts running. He gives several commands to halt, freeze, drop the gun, hands up, whatever. He goes down the alley, and at some point, I think he was trying to stash it behind the shelf, behind the fence, or in the hustle. But as he tries to stash it, in between the gun being in his hand, in between stashing it, the officer shoots him. And it might have been one of those cases where as the bullet flies, or as you're pulling the trigger, that 0.8 of a second, he drops it. But they looked at the camera, and it's 0.8 of a second. He sees him down. He realizes, oh shit, he's a young kid. He calls in for backup. He admits he shot the kid, tries to revive him, and that's that. They do the autopsy. The kid had a Latin Kings gang tattoo on him at 13 years old. And a lot of people have asked a legitimate question: why are the police murdering children now? Isn't murdering black people fun enough? Okay. Well, what is a 13-year-old doing out of the house at 2 o'clock in the morning on a school night with an older convicted felon gang member shooting at cars, fleeing from police with a gun? Now, like I've told you a minute ago, I've had children under my care that are, some have reached adulthood and are bigger than me. Some are still legally children and are bigger than me. In fact, I gave one right now. One year I had a case where I had two young ladies. One is in 5th grade, one is in 8th grade. The 8th grader is up to my stomach. The 5th grade up to my eyes. Okay? So you don't know sometimes. On top of that, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18. When you pull a trigger, what difference does it make? An 11-year-old with a gun is just as bad as a 35-year-old with a gun. Okay? That is the case. And I have not heard a single celebrity, all this fucking do-good bullshit they want to talk about, I have not heard a single celebrity talk about what the kid was doing out of the house, 2 a.m., gun, shooting at cars. Did they even give a fuck if that kid had shot a bullet into a car and killed a baby? Because that's what happens a lot in Chicago. They got kids in Chicago, young guys, gangbangers, that are shooting guns at cars, killing babies inside of cars. And all the babies are black. Okay. Now one person said, "Oh my God, what if they fired a bullet into a car and killed a baby?" Now there was an episode of Happy Days. Yeah, I'm going to the bottom of the barrel here. Happy Days. I was a baby when it ended its run, and I've seen it in syndication and TV Land and shit like that. There was a later episode of Happy Days where Fonz is teaching in a remedial school. You know what I mean? And there's an incident where a kid is bullying another kid, and the kid is flung across the room, and Fonz appears. And they speculate that Fonz assaulted the kid. So the episode centers around Fonz's disciplinary hearing. And the punchline was a female teacher had flung the kid across the room, and Fonz had dismissed her and taken the rap for it. Yeah, I know, right? Now, when the disciplinary action turned to the female teacher, Fonz made a point. Yes, Henry Winkler, the liberal, in a TV show in the 80s, late 80s, early 80s, is making a point. At the time the teacher flung the kid, because it's against the law to hit a student. At the time the teacher flung the student, was he being a student? No, he was not. He was being a hood. Okay? And everyone's like, why is the policeman shooting the 13-year-old child? He wasn't acting like a child. He was acting like a hood. Okay? He was in the ghetto at 2 o'clock in the morning with another gangbanger shooting at cars. Okay? That's being a hood. Okay? And if you're not going to accept that, you're a fucking idiot. Okay? This is the world without father. This is the world of fatherless homes. Okay? In the ghetto, I don't care if the kids are white, black, Hispanic, or Asian. In the ghetto, none of the kids have a father. And I've had mixtures of both. I've had mixtures of kids with single parents. I've had mixtures of kids with an active father. Okay? I've seen both. And if the kid does not have a father in the house with him, the kid is going to find another father. And that father may very well be the teacher, the pastor, the football coach, or that father may be the gangbanger, the drug dealer, or the pimp. Okay? I've seen kids in the ghetto that ended up being wonderful kids, entering society as wonderful young adults. I've seen that. I've seen it with my own eyes. Black kids, Hispanic kids, whatever their color is, whatever their religion is. I've seen kids come from bad circumstances, bad neighborhoods, and end up being good kids. Go to school, go to college, get a job. Okay, I've seen that. It's all a matter of the kid's personal choice. And also a mixture of who is disciplining the kid. Okay? And the kids that I've known, whether they had a father or not, whoever was in charge of them held them strong and disciplined them. Okay? Kids learn from discipline. Okay? They learn from discipline. You got a kid being a punk, beat his ass. All right? I've had kids I grew up with. They ended up in jail. Ended up dead. Okay? I've seen people die of drug overdoses. I've seen people die from murder. Not my own eyes, but people I've known. Okay, I've seen people die of natural causes. I have seen people go out and become millionaires. Okay? Problem is the kid made a choice. He chose to be a gangbanger. Now maybe he should have had another adult in his life to teach him better. I don't know. But at that exact moment, he was being a gangbanger. He was being a hood. Okay? He was down. All right? And now look at him. Now he's really down. Now he's down and he's dead. Okay? Don't blame the cop for killing little babies. Blame the person that made the choice. Okay? And I'm sick of the fake outrage. There's a shooting in Chicago every 2 hours. There's a murder in Chicago every 11 hours. And 90% of them are black. Okay? So I hear zero outrage. I hear zero. Black babies, black little kids. Okay? Black old ladies. I hear zero. I hear nothing. I hear silence. Okay? Wake up and grow a fucking brain.